Hi, it's Stephan Smith, ArtSmith CraftWorks. I'm here in my studio because I'm going to start a do-it-yourself series that I'm going to try to get posted on Fridays of each week. And the idea of this series is to show how I take everyday objects, the kinds of things I talk about all the time, and turn them into something else. Again, something else I talk about all the time. What I show you might not always be anything to do with steampunk. Sometimes it'll be something completely different where, like I said, I take an everyday object, something that I've picked out of the trash even, and turn it into something interesting, beautiful, useful, whatever the case may be. So what I'm going to show you today to start this off is how I construct one of my steampunk airship gondolas. Now, this is going to vary from airship to airship. It's going to vary from airship to balloon. It's going to vary in size and length. It just depends on what airship I am building it for in particular. So follow along and see what I do. So the first thing I'm going to show here is how I start, at least with this particular airship gondola. And I have a bunch of cutout pieces of cardboard that I actually laser cut. I drew the files in a vector-based program. For me it was Adobe Illustrator. For you it might be something else, CorelDRAW or something like that. These are things that I used to hand cut, and it's just one of the more tedious parts of doing one of these airships, so I started laser cutting them. It just made that part quicker. So you can see that I'm actually using pizza box cardboard for this one. It's a very thin 16th inch E-flute cardboard. You can use whatever you like. For me, this is just the way I build, or I start building a boat-shaped gondola. The gondolas for my airships wind up being a lot of different things, but I do really like this classic boat-shaped gondola. So this is what the gondola looks like once I have the pieces put together. I mean, it's kind of like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, or, well, more appropriately, like a 3D puzzle. And if you're interested in doing something like this, you certainly could draw something up in 123D, one of the various programs that allow you to do sectional items like this, draw a shape, cut it into pieces, put it together in a 3D fashion. Once I have all these pieces in place, then what I do is I flip it over onto this shape here, which is the top surface. You can see, well, you can't see on this one. Actually, I have another one, this one, that actually has the pieces positioned using the laser as well, just as a guide. I don't always use that. I don't always need it. And now this is what it looks like flipped over onto that top piece. And what I'll do now is glue all of those ribs in the center piece in place on that top plate. And when it's dry, that gives me a good rigid structure to construct the rest of the gondola on top of. In this picture, you can see that I've started to cover the skeleton of the gondola with cereal box cardboard strips. And when they're overlapped like this, they actually wind up looking like the shiplap on a normal boat, as you can see here. And even if we turn it around, you can see that it's on the bow as well. After that, then I put trim on it, basically using some pieces of self-adhesive craft foam. It's just the thing that seems easiest to go around some of these contours and create an edge that winds up looking like wood once it's all painted, and I'll show you those steps as well. You're going to wind up seeing some photos from a previous gondola that I made that used this exact same technique. But basically now this is going to get covered in a layer of Mod Podge. Some of the little nooks and crannies are going to get filled, and then it will get painted a brown color to simulate wood, and then we'll antique it and we'll brush stroke it so that it looks even more like wood. So here's the gondola with that first coat of brown paint, And then coming up here in this photo, that's got another layer of brown paint plus a bit of a dark wash on it so it looks aged. And then this one has some beginning brush strokes that make it look like it has a little bit more depth. And then this is what the actual gondola looks hanging on the airship. So once again, this is Stephan Smith, and this is how I build a steampunk airship gondola, at least a Victorian looking steampunk airship gondola that looks like a boat from scrap materials, from scrap corrugated cardboard, cereal box cardboard, and paint. You can make things out of scraps laying around your house, and I'm going to show you how. Thanks.